Good evening. Some of you must be wondering what is Cole doing here in a conference where technology is being discussed. In fact, when I took over as Cole secretary, most of my friends were sympathizing with me. And when someone asked me, "Kaisa lag raha hai?" my answer was, "Sir mudate koile bade." To say that it was tough would be an understatement. To say that it was difficult, it would be an understatement. To say that it was scary would also be an understatement. It was all of it and more of it. But I think it's technology that did the trick. I have known Mr. S.N. Tripathi as a brilliant officer, but today I found him as a brilliant speaker as well. But the good thing that I found was that not all persons who've done their masters in political science are bad at handling technology. I share that honor with him. Having done my masters in political science, as people used to call it, is science or nonsense, so we were all a part of nonsense. But I have now come to a conclusion that you don't really need to be a technologist in order to use technology. I think what is most important is your ability to understand the implications, your ability to understand the nuances, your ability to understand the utility and not the futility of technology. And for that, you don't really need to be a technologist. In fact, in some of the cases I've found in my career, that if you are a technologist, then you could put other technologists in trouble, and all of us, or then everyone is in trouble, and nothing moves forward. To my mind, the job of a person like me, or for that Mr. Tripathi, would be to manage the environment and let the technology do its job. Because perhaps on some occasions they are unable to manage the environment that is required to do their work. I've had my brush with technology from very initial period of my career. And that also demonstrates and illustrates that in government, technology can actually be a game changer, which indeed it is, which it is very clearly demonstrating now. But it wasn't so in the beginning. I remember in the early 90s, almost 25 years ago, when I was district magistrate of a district, I didn't know much about technology even then. Even now, I can't barely operate my laptop. My son does it much better than I do. But at that point in time, I understood how technology could be used, and I'm talking of early 90s. We prepared the first ever software for carrying stuff during an election campaign and assigning duties to officials, which later on was used nationally by Mr. T.N. Session in subsequent elections. It was then that I realized, in a very simple manner, that a lot of a drudgery can be actually eliminated by use of technology, simple use of technology. And I have done that through my career. I think the biggest moment for me in technology was when we created a health insurance scheme for the poorest of the poor in the country, which was the only and continues to be the only paperless health insurance scheme in the world, where a poor person could carry a smart card to any of the impaneled hospitals anywhere in the country and get his treatment with no questions asked. It is lesser known in India, because the problem in this country is it was only when yoga becomes yoga, it gets to be recognized in the country of origin. And unfortunately, this scheme was for the poor, unfortunately, in the context of not getting the coverage that it should have got within this country. It is only when the World Bank sat up and saw that this is the scheme to be looked at. It was only when the ILO and the UNDP recognized this scheme as one of the topmost schemes in the world. It was only when I was invited to Washington to make a presentation before the Obama team, to make them understand that health insurance could be done in the manner in which it was being done here, that the government recognized here. And as soon as the then government recognized it, they found Mr. Anil Swarup, plucked him out of that scheme, and asked him to serve the richest of the rich from the poorest of the poor. The scheme was for the poorest of the poor. I was then asked to head the project monitoring group in the Cabinet Secretariat to fast-track the projects that were. He looked at his chief executive officer. He said, "Why can't we have that in the private sector?" My day was made, because normally everyone curses the government, everyone curses the bureaucracy for taking time and doing things, and the red tape. There was no file, so there couldn't have been a tape. Now, how was it done and why was it done? It was done to save myself. I remember I was in Cambodia talking about that health insurance scheme, and I got a message that the cabinet secretary wanted to meet me. So the moment I landed here, I rang him up. I said, "Sir, you wanted to talk." He said, "Can you come and have a cup of tea tomorrow morning?" Now, the cabinet secretary is the topmost bureaucrat, and when he invites you for a cup of tea, it's either very good or very bad. And as is our nature, I thought it was pretty bad. He wouldn't reveal why he wanted me. Next morning, I was informed that I was plucked out of that assignment, and I was asked to look after this job wherein this was created. I was trying to do a few things there, then the government changed, and lo and behold, then I was asked to look after the coal sector. When I was trying to do something which the party has already done in terms of ensuring that industry doesn't have to go to any office to file any application, and he would also have the ability to or facility to track the application where it stands against specified timelines. That was my objective. We had identified around 180 comprehensive set of clearances, center and state, that are required to set up an industry. I'm not saying an industry would require all of them, but comprehensively about 180 clearances. And the aim was to digitize all of them. The aim was to put them on a portal where the industry could apply there and actually track them against the timelines. But then there was a crisis brewing in coal industry, coal ministry, and in the coal sector. So I was asked to take over here. I remember having walked into the office of my predecessor, an outstanding officer, but probably he loved files. So when I saw those files on his table, I was quite aghast, because I cannot think if there are files sitting on the table. So what do? Get rid of those files. You can't throw them out of the window, because in any case there were scams going on. CBI was in any case asking where have the files got lost. So you can't lose them just like that. But you can create a situation where you can actually eliminate those files. Those are redundant files. And I shouldn't be revealing the secret, but I would. That today, maximum 12 to 15 files a day. There aren't very many files coming in. Simple. 60 to 70% of the files in government are files either seeking information or sending information somewhere. So what typically happens in government, and some of you might be suffering on account of that, is that a paper comes to me, I mark it to somebody. It goes down the ladder, then it is put up on a file and put up to me again. If I don't have that information and write letters to the field offices, then a similar thing will happen there. All that information will come to me at some point in time after 2-3 reminders, then I'll consolidate it and send it. It takes months. And why should you do it? All that can be put on the portal. All that can be accessed by people you want them to access. Now, these are simple things. I have not understood the complexity of technology, but I have understood the simplicity of technology. You can use those simple technologies to find time to come and address these conferences. Otherwise, quite a few of my colleagues would still be sitting in the office handling those files. Now, if you don't invite me to such conferences, I won't know what to do in the evening. So thank you for calling me here. I have enjoyed being here. There have been fabulous speakers, both Tripathi and the speaker before him. And what is most amazing is the compere seems to be knowing so much about it. There have been hardly any situation. I haven't had this experience ever before. It's not the job of the compere to know so much, because then you feel complex. You wonder whether you're speaking as much as you should. But excellent. I think it's been done very well, this conference. I hope everyone will benefit out of what is going to happen here. I would certainly like to know the outcomes of these conferences, if there are any recommendations. Not that I'm directly associated with what is happening on the technology front, but I do believe that technology can help any sector, whether it's coal sector or any other sector. In coal, one of the biggest problems is the pilferage of coal. And we are using technology very extensively, because today we are tracking every truck that moves out of the colliery on where it is, how it is, where it is housed, where the coal is going. A lot more can be done in that respect. I would certainly like to learn more with regard to what can be done through technology in government, because this government is certainly extremely committed to using technology for reaching out to the customers, reaching out to the people, and delivering what should be delivered in a transparent manner. Thank you very much for inviting me here.